Content warning. The following presentation contains sensitive content which some people may find disturbing, including rape and suicide. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, class. For our team's topic, we chose the most recent lawsuit on Activision Blizzard. The lawsuit reveals some legal and ethical issues surrounding the treatment of women in the workplace at Activision Blizzard. This topic will be presented by Wendy, Ernestina, Rosalie, Nak, Joriel, Dennis, Jacqueline, and Tinan.
A frat boy culture. That is how Activision Blizzard is now being described here in this new lawsuit filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. The state agency alleges that female employees there are subjected to sex discrimination, unlawful sexual harassment, retaliation, and unequal pay. According to the complaint, female employees make up around 20% of the company's workforce. They're subjected to what is described as pervasive frat boy culture. For example, so-called cube crawls, in which male employees apparently drink a lot of alcohol as they crawl through their way through the cubicles, often engaging in inappropriate behavior toward female employees. The agency is saying it seeks, among other remedies, pay adjustments, back pay, lost wages, and benefits for those female employees in an amount to be proven at trial. The company hitting right back, though, very hard here, saying in a statement, the DFEH includes distorted and, in many cases, false descriptions of Blizzard's past. A picture, they say, the DFEH paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today. The state agency goes on to say this is all much bigger than just Activision Blizzard, though, that more generally sexism has plagued the gaming industry for decades and increasingly so, it argues, in recent years.
Hello, I am Nok, and I'll be giving insight to Activision Blizzard's background as well as the topic backgrounds. Activision Blizzard Incorporated is an American video game holding company based in Santa Monica, California, formed through a merger between Activision Incorporated and Vivendi Games in 2008. Activision Blizzard is the parent company to many subsidiaries and independent studios, including Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, King, Major League Gaming, and Activision Blizzard Studios. You might recognize Activision Blizzard from popular games such as World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Diablo, or Overwatch. Maybe even Candy Crush Saga. So when news broke out in late July of 2021 that California sued Activision Blizzard on the grounds of Blizzard violating the Civil Rights Act and the Equal Pay Act, the gaming community were in shock. It seemingly came out of nowhere. However, the lawsuit was a result of more than 2 years of investigations by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing. What they found was a toxic workplace culture where harassment and discrimination of women ran rampant. People compared Blizzard's workplace culture to that of a frat boys. In late September of 2021, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission also filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard for violating Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. There were allegations of discrimination against pregnant employees, delegation of lower-paying jobs to women, and lower pay for similar work, and retaliation against those who reported sexual harassment or discrimination. Some of the more serious claims included an act called cube crawls, where men came to work drunk and went cube to cube harassing people. It was reported that instead of working, they would play games and assign their work to women to complete. They would openly talk about women's bodies, joke about rape, and have unwanted physical advances towards women. There was also an informal networking spot called the Cosby Suite, named after the alleged rapist Bill Cosby. Photos and screenshots of messages by the Bill Cosby Group were revealed where they seemingly discussed plans to recruit female employees for sexual favors. The most tragic event that occurred as a result of harassment was a female employee committed suicide during a company trip. Prior to her death, male co-workers had allegedly passed around pictures of her private areas. This is one of the leaked messages from the group chat that I've mentioned before. Alex Avershabi is the former senior creative director for World of Warcraft who has since been terminated. He is one of the few men who was explicitly named within the DFEH's lawsuit against Blizzard, citing that he was permitted to engage in blatant sexual harassment with little to no repercussion. All of these problems were left to fester for years without restraint, and little to no action came from Blizzard's management to bring these problems to resolution. Jacqueline will now get us started on the PBT analysis.
Thank you, Ngok. I am Jacqueline and I will be discussing the different laws involved. There were two laws primarily involved in DDF, EH, and EEOC lawsuit. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Equal Pay Act. We will analyze the claims, make and evaluate whether they are in violation of the law. The first claim is retaliation. Any report by people who were discriminated against or harassed were not kept confidential. They experience retaliation illegal because the law protects individuals from retaliation. This action leads to a barren trajectory. The next claim is sexual harassment. Women were subject to sexual harassment. Men openly talk about women's bodies, joke about rape, and physically touch women without consent. Illegal because it is unlawful harass a person because of that person's sex. Again, these actions are a barren trajectory. The last claim under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is pregnancy discrimination. Women who face pregnancy discrimination were either fired or work in the toxic environment. Illegal because you cannot treat people unfavorably because of pregnancy, childbirth, or medical condition related to pregnancy or childbirth. All the claims point toward a parent trajectory. The second law involved is the Equal Pay Act. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing claimed that PUSAR saw sex discrimination related to unequal pay between men and women, which is illegal under Equal Pay Act. Some of the claims said that women were paid less wage compared to men for substantially similar work. Women were offered less incentive, promotion opportunities, and stock options. During the hiring process, women were offered lower starting wages than men. Illegal because you cannot pay your worker different wage for equal work that require equal competence. Because this violates the law, it is the parent trajectory. Anestia will take over from here to talk about the internal governing document.
Thanks, Jacqueline. I'm Ernestina, and I will be discussing Activision Blizzard's internal governing documents, primarily their code of conduct. Within are policies regarding retaliation, harassment, and discrimination. The retaliation policy states, "We do not tolerate any form of retaliation against employees for making good faith reports or interference with their right to report." Since the lawsuit was filed, many employees have spoken out of retaliation actions by management. Also, for using coercive and intimidation tactics to prevent workers from organizing a campaign for change. This resulted in an additional lawsuit filed by the Communications Workers of America and an investigation with the SEC. The harassment policy indicates there is no tolerance policy regarding any physical, verbal, or nonverbal harassment. This includes remarks, gestures, behaviors, comments, jokes, or photos relating to protected characteristics. This policy was violated when numerous complaints indicated a pervasive frat boy culture, which included derogatory comments about rape and other demeaning behavior towards women. For example, nude photos of a female employee being passed around during a holiday party. Finally, their discrimination policy includes no tolerance for discrimination or making employee-related decisions based on protected characteristics. Female employees allege that they were held back from promotions on the possibility that they may become pregnant. Also, complaints indicate that there was a disparity in wages. Claims state that female employees were paid less than their male counterparts based on their gender. Rosalie will now take over to talk about public-private relations.
Thank you, Ernestina. My name is Rosalie, and I will be discussing the first portion of the PPR analysis zones of impact. Women who worked with Activision Blizzard were directly affected by Activision Blizzard's inaction. Women were negatively impacted through gender discrimination professionally, physically, and monetarily. As Ernestina mentioned in the previous slides, there were policies in effect towards discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. However, it wasn't strictly enforced. As we now know, it led to an extremely toxic workplace where women were denied their rights. The company's employees no longer tolerated Activision's inactions and responses to the litigations. Therefore, would coordinate multiple walkouts, causing the company culture to disintegrate furthermore. Activision's public relations were also negatively impacted as multiple corporations within the gaming industry disagreed with their unresponsiveness to their company issues. Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo were three companies that spoke out against Activision Blizzard, stating that their actions ran against their beliefs, values, and policies. The bad publicity Activision has gained has in effect impacted their stock prices as they have dropped over the course of the lawsuits. Joriel will now take over to discuss the application of the second part of PPR analysis.
Thank you, Rosalie. I'm Joriel, and I'll be continuing the PPR analysis and discussing whether or not Blizzard's actions breached the implied duty of integrity. Following what Rosalie and Jacqueline previously talked about, we believe that Blizzard's actions breached the implied duty of integrity because they failed to protect their employees from harassment and discrimination in the workplace despite knowing about the problem for years. Not only were women objectified, treated unfairly, and disrespected, they were denied their basic human rights as people. Blizzard did not do their share to provide a positive and safe working environment to their employees. They refused to acknowledge their wrongdoings earlier and failed to be responsive towards women's complaints. Given all this, we have come to the conclusion that Blizzard's actions led to a barren trajectory because they failed to follow the laws and breached the implied duty of integrity. Dina will now tell us the current status of Activision Blizzard.
More than 1,500 Activision Blizzard employees are calling for the resignation of the company's CEO, Bobby Kotick. The calls follow the publication of a Wall Street Journal investigation earlier this week. It found that Kotick knew about multiple sexual assault allegations, including alleged rapes at the video game giant. In addition, it claims he failed for years to report these allegations to the company's board.
Hello, my name is Tanan Nguyen, and I will be recording the aftermath of the lawsuits. Following the lawsuits, we see multiple walkouts and key employees leaving their position in support of the women. Employees involved in the discrimination and harassment issues were terminated by Blizzard, including Alex Afrigiabi and Jesse McCree. Any references to any of the terminated employees within the games were removed by Blizzard. Blizzard also agreed to work with regulators on new anti-harassment and anti-discrimination programs and policies, and they settled an $18 million lawsuit with the EEOC. Their goal is to reimburse affected employees. Employees staged another walkout in November to call for CEO Bobby Kotick's immediate resignation after investigation showed that he was aware of sexual misconduct as early as 2006. I will now pass the recording to Wendy.
Thank you, Tanan. That is the end of our presentation. These are the sources that we used. Thank you.